Diddy is attempting to leave jail early once more. He is currently incarcerated in Brooklyn, MDC until his formal sentencing in October. His legal team attempted to get him released on bond shortly after his conviction by making a $1 million deal. However, the judge promptly turned down that request. In an effort to get out, he is now offering a huge $50 million bail package, significantly increasing the stakes.
Now to the Sean Diddy Combs case. We may learn this week if he will be released on bond while he awaits sentencing. His lawyers filed a request asking the judge to release Combs on $50 million bond.
He argues that since the accusations he was found guilty of were not violent ones, he shouldn't be incarcerated. The Mann Act, which forbids moving persons across state boundaries for criminal reasons, led to Diddy's conviction on 2 counts. The actual charges did not involve direct bodily harm, despite the fact that this law is classified as constituting violence under bail regulations. It might be disastrous for all those who testified against Diddy if he escapes. Perhaps this is the reason why judges have been so reluctant to release him.
The judge said next time. So he probably let Diddy get away with it to see how far he was going to do it. But then he said, nah, we're not having this. Because you got to realize the jury is not sequestered. They go home every day. And he's known for tampering with witnesses. If you go through the trial right today, you see how he was trying to tamper with some of the people by having security, D-Rock, and other people talk to them. They are saying that in their testimony. So the judge is very aware of the fact by hearing the testimony of some of the witnesses that he was trying to tamper with the investigation.
Prosecutors testified throughout the trial that Diddy had been violent with Cassie and another lady, known as Jane, but the jury found him not guilty of the charges. He was really found not guilty of any accusations of direct violent assault. A 2016 hotel video has been touted by some as evidence of misconduct, but it cannot be used to convict him because the case was not filed in California at the time and the statute of limitations had already passed. Diddy's legal team is now arguing that you cannot hold him accountable for crimes for which he was not found guilty. However, prosecutors contend that testimony and prior occurrences provide sufficient proof of his troubling behavior to imply that he may pose a threat if freed. The judge has a different perspective on things because of this. However, Jaguar Wright has cautioned that Diddy has probably used a considerable amount of damage control strategies since the trial began.
Diddy does have a plan to try to derail the information, derail the chain of evidence, derail history as it actually happened. And he is the kind of guy that has no problem with re-victimizing people all over again. Let's just keep it a buck. These girls showed up at a very opportune time, did they not? Adria and Lamisha Fuller. Very opportune time. I do Pierce Morgan. The elites go insane. Ariel Mitchell Kidd drops Adria English as a client after she got drunk and talked with Tasha K, which was side in itself, if you ask me. I go on Pierce Morgan and say I have 3 witnesses that are ready to come forward against the Carters. I didn't say against Diddy, I said against the Carters. And then there was the fake C&D, which was nothing more than a phone call from the lawyer Alex Spiro, who tanked the Rock Nation offering so Dame Dash couldn't make any real money off of it.
Jaguar continued by outlining the potential significance of the Diddy conviction, particularly in light of the fact that he suffered large financial losses as a result of people like Albie Source speaking out against him.
We get off Diddy.
I'll be sure is somebody that at the time when you were doing your run back in 2024, you were waiting to hear from him. You knew he was going to say something. he finally waited to do the Diddy documentary to finally speak. And I think TMZ put out, or I forgot who put it out, but there was a documentary kind of put out on the downfall of Diddy. And I'll Be Sure was part of that, speaking his story. For you to see him, because again, he was very calculated on who he spoke with, whether it's real life or whoever it was. He was calculated as far as who he was going to speak with, but he ended up finally speaking and it going on the documentary. What credit do you give him for coming out and at least starting the conversation?
What do you mean? What credit?
Yes.
All credit.
There you go.
One of the best moments for me was seeing that documentary and watching how the footage that they took from this blue couch lined up perfectly with everything he had to say. Why did that not hit?
I don't
hit different?
Right.
I just
And you said on your platform too, like, why aren't, as we're closing in on this trial, why isn't there more?
How didn't that hit different?
Right.
Because as much as I love, I'll be sure, much as I love Mr. Albert Brown Sr., father, grandfather, amazing artist, incredible writer, wonderful entrepreneur, and radio personality. It's so funny when I talk about all of the things that my friend I'll be sure is. It's funny, everyone forgets that he did all of these things. Like, it's sad that not until that documentary, people weren't even acknowledging that he was an original investor, owner in Uptown Records that got demolished. So bad boy. But for me to be able to say the same things that he was saying, and we haven't even been in each other's presence, how did that hit different?
There you go.
It's like they just don't want to accept the truth. Angie passes away.
Yeah. That right there.
Al said something. I said something. We were attacked immediately.
Right.
Why? You want to know what else I find funny? We got attacked for speaking about the truth. But all of those other entertainers, ain't none of them say nothing. Especially the females who were mentored and influenced by Angie Stone, no different than me. Not as much. I was truly influenced by Betty Wright, but then again, Angie Stone was influenced by her, so I guess it's all the same thing.
The bail law is stringent. Diddy must demonstrate two things in order to be freed. The first is that he poses no flight danger, and the second is that he is unlikely to commit crimes in the future. His attorneys contend that he is not leaving. He would wear an ankle monitor, surrender his passport, and, of course, he wouldn't desert a $50 million wager. Convincing the judge that he won't repeat the same actions linked to his conviction is more difficult. That is particularly challenging, particularly given Diddy's past actions. Here is actually a 5-year-old video of Jaguar Wright exposing Diddy.
Yeah, Diddy is a shepherd for the devil. Everybody told me he was a shepherd for the devil, and I seen it for myself. Y'all want to know how divisive Sean Combs, Honey Combs is? Go talk to Father MC and ask him how he feels about the love of his life being stopped to death, and all Puff wanted to do was keep it quiet so nobody knew that he was responsible because he didn't have the appropriate motherfucking goddamn permits to do half of the shows he was doing at Howard. Sean Combs, your agenda to destroy talent in the music industry, as successful as it's been, it needs to end. The way you embarrass those people who are making the band, yeah, it might have made good TV. It was good TV because you were sitting there humiliating people for having talent. Why you hate talent so much, Puff? Trying to contend with someone filled with power who know they doesn't need you? is much harder than contending with someone that has no talent, that can't survive without you. The only thing that proves is that you're a narcissist. You have beautiful children. You should spend more time looking at them instead of looking up little young girls' skirts. That thing that girl said about you, the side bitch, while you was with Cassie, who was the side bitch while you was with Kim. Your relationships overlap so much, Puff. You like a monkey for real. You like a monkey. And you know how monkeys travel through the jungle, right? They go from vine to vine. But when monkeys travel from vine to vine, they don't swing on the rope and jump off and catch the next rope. No, they don't let go of one branch until they got a firm grasp on the other. And that's your whole relationship story. You're disrespectful to women. For real, you're probably the Jeffrey Epstein of hip-hop. And Puff, if your ass is itching about it, you can say something to me too. Because I know what really happened with you, Shine, and Jennifer Lopez. I know what really happened, yo. That boy that you tried to clone and turn into Biggie Smalls. Shout out to the memory of Biggie, yo. If you don't want me talking, Puff, keep your distance. Because I'm not big and I'm not Tupac. My head is always on a swivel. And what's really sad is, of all of the things that I've been sharing with y'all over the past 6 weeks, I ain't told you shit.
The judge has also reminded everyone that Diddy would probably have been found guilty based on the 2016 video if the case had only involved domestic abuse, as even his own attorneys acknowledged in court. His chances of being granted bail are now being negatively impacted by that revelation. Furthermore, because he has so much blackmail information on them, many celebrities will wish to keep him behind bars.
On everybody.
It depends on what's on the tapes. You know what I'm saying? If it has anything, see, what people don't understand is this, is that having sex is not a crime, but having sex with underage is.
Does it even make sense for him to seek for bail at this time? That is another important question. The majority of the time he has already spent behind bars will count toward his sentence if it is 1 to 2 years. That implies that he may not have much time left at all. He might not gain anything from leaving now just to return in a few months. This is part of a larger discussion as well. Many individuals following this case believe that Diddy would not even be given the opportunity to ask for bail if he weren't well-known and affluent. Ordinary folks in comparable circumstances frequently do not have such choice. Additionally, a lot of people who came out with charges are hoping the court will consider their opinions rather than concentrating only on how much money Diddy can make. It is important to note that despite years of investigation and a great deal of work by federal officials, the case did not turn out exactly as the prosecutors had hoped. The jury wasn't persuaded despite their years of effort to establish a strong case. The defense did not call a single witness during the trial, while the prosecution called over 30 witnesses. And despite all of that testimony, he was found not guilty of the most serious counts by the jury. However, Gene Deal has a fascinating idea about why the federal government made such a weak case. He believes they were targeting Diddy's tapes, not Diddy himself.
This case had nothing to do with really putting Puff in jail, because those people are educated enough to know they could have won that case by other charges and they didn't even go for it. They didn't even go for it. That gun charge was locked, sealed, and they didn't even go for it. Why? It was about them going in there, getting those tapes. I think the prosecutor name was Damian Williams. He was sent there and put that because somebody told him if it was just baby oil.
The latest attempt by Diddy to evade his conviction is being blocked by the prosecution. They claimed that his appeal for an acquittal or a new trial has no legal basis in a fresh filing that was released late Wednesday night, nearly 3 weeks after the verdict. Their stance is straightforward. He should go to sentencing on October 3rd, as the convictions remain valid.
He's going to get more. Point blank. So all you people that's celebrating and want to know how Gene Deal feel, I'm all right.
However, prosecutors used more evidence to bolster their case, and the Mann Act convictions were a significant victory. When the jury was shown a 2016 video, it became one of the most talked about moments in the courtroom. In that video, Diddy is shown in a Los Angeles hotel hallway as R&B singer Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura. When Cassie decided she wanted to be one of the so-called freak-offs, Diddy reacted angrily. She said the jury in her testimony during the trial. Prosecutors used that incident to support their claim that his actions went beyond partying. It also had an aggressive and domineering pattern. Diddy was not found guilty of the trafficking charges, but the two-man act allegations are nonetheless significant. Even if the offenses don't have the same attention-grabbing moniker as trafficking, prosecutors maintain that they are serious and deserving of severe punishment. The key question now is how much time the judge will actually give him, since his sentencing date has already been set.
But if this the plan that God got it for him right now, it's God's plan. And what y'all don't understand, y'all celebrate thinking that it can't happen in jail. They might put him in a couple of places before he make it over there to Madoc, R. Kelly, rest of the criminals that's have easygoing spots and stuff like that. But it still can happen there. Somebody get mad. Somebody got a relative or something like that he did something to that we don't know about. And they run into him. And they hit him with his own words. Take that, take that. Then what y'all gonna say? I ain't worrying about it, man. This is funny to me, man. This is real funny that the prosecution spent all that money, all that time, and all that resources when they had legitimate charges that they could have put on him other than the RICO, other than the racketeering. That gun charge is mandatory. So now you got to realize this. A lot of people going to bring up cases to the federal government. This becomes case law now.
Diddy is still in jail for the time being, with his defense team claiming that he shouldn't be imprisoned for even a day and the prosecution asking for years. When sentencing takes place this fall, the court will have the last word, and the back-and-forth documents demonstrate exactly how deeply both sides are digging in. Will more well-known names surface? In Gene Deal's opinion, of course.
So I want to go back to the comments you made earlier about these tapes, and I want you to give more clarity. So you believe they only got Puffy because they wanted these tapes. What do you think is on these tapes?
Bro, you got to realize you got people like Prince Harry. Prince Harry was at a Diddy party. You got some of the same Universal executives. Diddy made it cool for, I'm just gonna say it like this, man, whites to hang out with the hood dudes. Dude from the hood, he made it cool and safe for them to hang out with the white executives. They used them for that. They used them enough, whereas that now you got white executives doing Diddy-like parties. Remember the dude from, Frantic? The clothing line, the sports line? They was mad because they didn't get invites to his party because he was doing white parties, doing parties like Diddy. Now I ain't talking about the freak off party part of it, but I'm just saying he was doing those parties and everybody that was rappers or I think Stephen A. Smith said something about he was upset that he didn't get no invite. So it was those parties that everybody wanted to be at. So Diddy have on tape, he taped everything. He taped everything and taped everybody. You remember in this trial it came up. In this trial it came up. What came up in this trial? It came up that his assistant was right there. And Diddy told him, "You want to show your lord to me?" Gave him a condom and told him to sex the girl right there. He asked the girl, was she all right there? She said, yeah. That's crazy, bro. So now, you think certain politicians, you think certain actors, actress, they drinking, smoking, we know they love pink coke. You know they got weed all in the air. They dropping pills, they dropping some other kind of pill. Man, do you think he ain't got nobody on tape, bruh?
How do you feel about Gene's evaluation thus far? Do you think the federal government should allow Diddy to walk to fry bigger fish? Tell us in the comments section below.